Welcome to the top of the morning show. It is your girl TT from the D. This is a different show this morning. It's quite funny when I realize that I'm on to something or I'm sharing something with you, the listener, that sometimes might not want to be heard, or some might feel like it shouldn't be heard. Let's talk about propaganda. Propaganda. Do we know what that even means? Think about it. It's information that could be biased or misleading to promote or publicize particular political causes or points of view. Think about all during the great candidate debates. News coverage was taken over while you had the candidates going back and forth, shaming one another, throwing dirt on one another to get our votes. When you got the lesser two evils, you're looking at it like, well, what should we be doing? Right? We look at social media with the propagandas, and some of us just look at it like, it's cool, but is it really? What are we dealing with in today's time? In today's time, like, what are we dealing with right now? We just got through dealing with, I think the biggest propaganda was the push, urge through communication used to influence or persuade us regarding the vaccination. Think about it. Think about it. Misleading a pandemic, the misinformation, the truth, the lies. Yet some of us trusted and fell victims. It was the misinformation that made us disconnect, that made us look side-eyed at the people that we trusted, the government. One minute, they wanted us to do one thing. The next minute, they wanted us to do another thing. At nearly every stage of the virus, they inspired us with a different level of confidence to do something that they wanted us to do. It was like leading a sheep or herd to a cliff and watching them fall off one by one. You had literally jobs threatening their employees. If they don't get vaccinated, they can't work. So now you're talking about messing with people's livelihoods. There was so much data out here, and then people exposing things, and then mysteriously things missing. It caused mass hysteria. You had people that had all these adverse side effects, all because they needed people to get vaccinated, which did not stop people from catching COVID-19. And then they tried to push it under the conspiracy theory that it was brought in by the Chinese government. Come on. Some Chinese officials did claim that the virus was to China by the US military. Now, do we know that to be fact or not? Don't know. But don't you think it was weird that there was a professor allegedly that was allegedly like a spy who worked for one of our major universities and worked for China and was going back and forth, back and forth. They went in, arrested him, got him out. But do y'all remember we never heard nothing else? We never heard nothing else about him or his family. What happened to him? When we think about what we listening to and what we watching and what we see, we have to be very, very mindful about the way people use propaganda. The way we use it to control the minds of people who allegedly have freedom of speech. Propaganda is used at least once a year, or not once a year, once every time it's about election, because there comes the manipulation of all these commercials they spend millions and thousands of dollars on to persuade you. Anything the government wants us to do or to want to have influence or control over, they use social media, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, these radio outlets that are no longer controlled by you and I, they're AI. It's just so much crap. It's so much crap. And if you really want to know how propaganda works, it's to shape your opinion, convince you, to move you in a way whoever budget is bigger than the other person's budget. And it can actually push you into changing your behavior. Mass media is often used by propagandists to sway societies, groups of people, Democrats, Republicans, nonpartisans, whatever, to go and do as they want you to do. And that's fact. When you use propaganda in advertising, it's used to convince people that you should try a product or you should not try a product because of a negative outcome. Think about it. We laughed at it, but it's not funny. When you look at certain medications they have out here, and then they say real fast, may cause liver bleeding, spleen disorder. I'm just saying things right. Kidney failure, heart failure, heart palpitations, loss of sight, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, whoa, this all because of something that's gonna help my stomach. And they said, and you laugh at it, but yet it's true. I was just recently on some medication that I realized it was making me feel dizzy and lightheaded, and I was having way more joint pain. And I happened to look at the side effects, and I said, "Oh shit, all of these things are listed." Well, do I keep on doing this to my body because of one thing, or do I say, "Freak that," and I'm gonna stop taking it? That's exactly what I did. I said, "Fuck that." So excuse me for any child that's listening. I said, "It's not happening." When we know better, we do better. Okay. Now, propaganda techniques, name calling, right? Appealing to emotions. Propaganda often relies on emotional appeal to the people. Some people would believe that some churches use propaganda, especially when it's tithe and offering time, to get you to give more because they ain't tapped into your emotions. What about bandwagoning? It's a technique that uses peers to convince one another to do something. For example, a political candidate might say, everyone is voting for me, so you should too. And you're like, oh, okay. Or the scare tactics. If you don't get vaccinated, you won't be able to do this and this and that. You gotta, it's like, oh my God. If they didn't use that one during the outbreak of COVID in the first 2 years to try to get everybody to get that vaccine and then vaccinate, it was just terrible, right? Then, of course, using false statistics. They give you one thing, then it shows to be another thing, and it's like, what? What? But by the time you realize it's too late. Like slogans is propaganda. Catchphrases like "Make America Great Again." That's Trump's. That's his slogan since 2016. Mm-hmm. Those testimonials, endorsements from famous or respected people, like when they had celebrities endorse vaccines or medication. We have to be mindful, y'all. When you have celebrities that we follow on social media or that we look up to, oh well, so and so doing that. Let me do it. It might not work out for you, and who's to say that they're even doing it? It's important to think clearly of any decision you make. Check for facts. Get legitimate facts. When I was in college writing papers, you could Google, right? Our professors told us the best source is Google Scholar. Never use Wikipedia because I can go in there and change something. You can go in there and change something. What? And make it be. And then somebody who don't know no better will come in and say, "Oh, I found it." No, not necessarily. So I just wanted to put you up on that, especially in these next couple of months. Watch the effects of propaganda. You don't got to believe me. Do your own research. Look back at the things I said. You'll find evidence. When you know better, you do better. Or at least you're supposed to. Now, on a lighter note, because this show was all discombobulated, I said, oh, I see you, Satan. But we're going to talk about it. You have the media in bed with politicians and the government quite often. Literally. Do your own research. Even what I'm telling you right now, you ain't got to believe it 100%. Do your own research. I wouldn't waste your morning telling you something that I just want to say. I'm telling you something that I did my own research and I found out to be true and that I know. Well, that's all I have for you at this top of the morning. Until the next time you leave footprints across the sun, it's your girl TT from the D, and I'll see you soon.